Justice with Judge Mablean will be life because in everything we do, it involves the law. You came to court to testify about what you heard, what you saw, and what you know.
She's fair.
I don't have a hearing problem. This ear works good. This one works even better.
She's firm.
I'm not responsible for that ticket, and I'm not going to pay for it.
Who says you're not going to pay for it? I make that decision, not you.
She's honest.
What you have to say?
All I have to
Nothing.
say.
This is Justice with Judge Mablean. Brett Harvey is suing Kendall Winters in the amount of $10,000. Mr. Harvey claims Ms. Winters wrongfully terminated him. Ms. Winters says the plaintiff breached his employment contract and he deserved to be fired.
This is the matter of Brett Harvey versus Kendall Winters suing for $10,000. You're saying that you worked for her and she wrongfully terminated you because you turned off your GPS.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, tell me about it.
Well, I believe that she violated my privacy. This GPS app that she was using allowed her to track me wherever I was at whatever time. She enforced us to have it on 24/7, and I didn't believe that, and I turned the app off, and she fired me. Not much time with that happening, so I believe I was wrongfully terminated.
Okay, tell me, how were you employed? What's your employment? What were the terms of the employment?
Well, I had an interview with her, and the interview went great. She was very particular about the timing, though. So from the instance, I could tell she was very controlling. And during the interview, she kept looking at her phone every sort of 5 minutes or so. And I was wondering why the meeting would be interrupted. And she would say that she was just checking on her assistants. I thought this was interesting. Anyways, the interview went quite well, and I ended up getting a job offer. And I was
For what?
For being the assistant for the publicist.
An assistant to the publicist?
Yes, for the third assistant to the publicist.
So this was a publicity firm?
Yes.
She had a number of celebrity clients, corporate clients, what type of clientele?
All sorts of clients.
Okay. And as a third assistant to the publicist, you did handled events?
Yes.
You picked up things for them?
Correct.
What else?
Pretty much anything she asked me to do. It could go from doing simple errands to sending emails, looking over contracts, and just organizing general meetings.
So when you say she violated your privacy, in the interview, was there anything said about a GPS app?
No, but in the contract there was.
And what was it in the contract?
In the contract it said that the employee agrees to keep application on and running for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes, it's very clear in the contract what the requirements are.
Very good. It is very clear in my courtroom what the requirements are.
Apologies,
they are for you to
Your
keep
Honor.
quiet until you're spoken to.
Fine.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So you have a copy of that contract?
Yes.
May I see it, please? This is the employment contract.
Correct.
And did she explain why you were going to keep this GPS app on 24/7?
Essentially, her clients have needs that need to be met promptly. So if the GPS is on, she can determine which one of her assistants is closest to the client and who can, meet their needs as quick as possible.
Did she pay for the app on your phone?
No.
You had to pay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he's remembering that incorrectly. My business, we pay for the...
Are you remembering something incorrectly?
No,
No, I'm talking to Mrs. Winters. Aren't you remembering something incorrectly?
No, I am not.
You're not?
No.
Well, let me just refresh your memory. I told you to keep your mouth closed until I asked you to speak.
Yes, I apologize.
Did that refresh your memory?
Yes, it did.
Okay, keep it in your memory, okay?
I will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Occasionally work on weekends.
And I was happy to do it. I loved doing the work. I enjoyed the job, and it was fine. I just didn't like the fact that she knew where I was at all times.
So why did you turn it off?
Well, there was one incident. One weekend I was away, and I actually went to a gay pride parade, and she saw that I was there. And I showed up to work on Monday, and she made quite a snarky comment to me. She said, "Oh, Brett, I see you play for the other side." But she assumed that I was gay just on the fact that I attended that event and I supported the LGBT community.
Brett, I did not say
Hey,
that.
Ms. Winters.
Yes.
You really pushing it. Now, he said you were a little controlling, but you don't control in here.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's my last time.
I understand.
Coming up on Justice with Judge Mablean.
He sent you an email that said, I'm not going to be available this weekend, and I'm going to turn off my GPS because I'm not going to be available. Why does he get terminated?
And
suing
later,
your brother because your nephew ripped your book. That's what children do.
Your Honor, my brother has always been jealous of me.
No, you've been jealous of me.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Brett Harvey, who is suing Kendall Winters for wrongful termination.
You were talking about her assuming that you were gay because you went to the gay pride parade.
Yes, correct.
But the point is, all I'm saying is you turned off your app
not
one
in that
weekend.
Instance. Yes, a bit further down the track, after another instance. I planned a trip before I even got the job with a few of my college friends. We planned to go to Palm Springs. I didn't ask permission from her because it's not stated in the contract that I have to tell her where to go. And I felt that I didn't need to tell her. It's my life. I can keep my private life and my business life separate. And then I arrived to work on Monday, and she looked at me with a death-cold stare and said, "In my office now." And she tried to hold me accountable for a client who believed they didn't have their needs met.
Did she accuse you of not being available?
Yes.
Okay.
And not once did she try to reach out to me.
Well, you don't know whether she did or not because
No, she
she'll
didn't
tell
try
me
to
that.
ring. Your Honor, she didn't try to ring me.
Well, you went Palm Springs anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Was the client in Palm Springs?
No.
So you couldn't have done it anyway, right?
Exactly. I was starting to get her behavior started to have a bit more of an impact on me, and I started to get annoyed by how controlling it was, and I felt it was a violation of my privacy. So I said to her, I sent her an email. The email is
yeah,
over
I'm
there.
reading it.
Yeah,
You said if you need me, text me.
That is not how I run my business.
Tell me this business.
Well, what happened?
Well, first of all, let me understand the necessity, what his job duties are, and the necessity for having all of your employees install a GPS app on their telephones.
Correct. I track them.
Okay, explain that to me.
Okay, I track them via GPS.
I got that. I know what a GPS does.
Okay.
Why?
Right. Because my business requires immediate, quick responses for my clients. I want to be there for these clients. It's very important.
How many employees do you have?
I have 4.
Each employee is required to have the Find Me GPS app installed and running. Keep the app running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week while employed for Mrs. Kendall Winters. The purpose is to determine the closest employee to execute the necessary weekend tasks. Is that right?
That is correct,
Okay,
Your
so what
Honor.
happened with Mr. Harvey?
Well, he went to Palm Springs, as we were talking about a few minutes ago. The intent is that they be available, and you can't be available
24 hours, 7 days a week, every weekend?
24/7. That's the nature of this job.
Against the labor code. But your own employment agreement does not say you must be available 24/7. It says you must keep your GPS app on. Your agreement says the purpose of this is to determine which employee is closest to meet the client's need. So now if he had it on and he's in Palm Springs, he's not closest. So you can't punish him for that.
Well, I wanted to fire him right then.
Why didn't you?
Well, because I didn't want to go through the trouble of finding another third assistant, so I thought I will give him another chance.
Okay, and then what happened?
He turned off the GPS.
He sent you an email that said, I'm not going to be available this weekend, and I'm going to turn off my GPS because I'm not going to be available. Why does he get terminated?
No, what he did was he said he didn't want to use the way I had my business set up, which was via GPS tracking. He wanted me to text him.
Yes,
and
is a text
I didn't ask you to talk.
Texting takes longer, and it's all about immediacy. So you text them, say, "Hi, can you? Where are you? I'm right here." Well, then, can you? That's time, Your Honor. And this.
Okay, so why did you decide to? Now you're going to tell her how to reach you.
Yes.
And what makes you think you could do that?
Well, I believe that a sort of common courtesy is needed. If she was to reach out to me, I would expect that. If I wanted her to reach out to me, I believe that there's cell phone, email, any way possible that is able for that.
Let me explain something to you. The employment or the employer-employee relationship is not built on common courtesy.
Okay, I understand.
In most employer-employee relationships, they don't know what courtesy is, particularly in the publicity business. You got demanding clients that want you to go walk the dog.
Correct.
Right?
But I don't want to use that GPS to find out what I'm doing in my private life and make that affect my workspace and my environment in my work life.
Well, you know what? When you read this application, you said
Yes.
turn that GPS on 24/7 so that I know where you are and who's closest. She commented on knowing where you were. Obviously, she's going to know where you are.
Yes.
Now, had you come in here saying that she is using this illegally, she is tracking where I am, she is stalking me, et cetera, that's a different thing. But you sent her an email and said, I'm not going to have this thing on this weekend. I'm turning it off. So when you knew you had the GPS, you knew that meant I'm being tracked.
Yes.
So why would you take a job that you're going to be tracked?
Well, I mean, it was my dream job. I went to college for this. I moved countries
Oh,
for this.
well, then that's part
Yeah.
of that. Hey, you got to accept what comes along with the territory, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
All right, so judgment for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim has been dismissed.
Hopefully you've learned a valuable lessons. Bosses have rules and you have to follow them.
I really appreciated the opportunity, but next time I'll pay more attention to the contract.
Coming up.
Just suing your brother because your nephew ripped your book. That's what children do.
Yeah, but it's careless on his part. He doesn't respect my passion in
Your
life.
Honor, my brother has always been jealous of me.
No, you've been jealous of me.
Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. Joey Miller is suing his stepbrother, Alex Miller, in the amount of $412. Mr. Miller claims his stepbrother destroyed his signed comic book. The defendant claims he's not responsible.
All rise.
Thank you. You may be seated. In the matter of Joey Miller versus Alex Miller, two brothers suing each other over a comic book, a torn comic book from your comic book collection, right?
Yes.
So why are you two brothers in my court?
Well, Your Honor, I'm suing my younger brother Alex for $412 for a ripped comic book. It was very valuable. The thing is, I live with my younger stepbrother Alex. The thing is, they allow Adrian to go into my room sometimes, and he just comes in and plays with my stuff. And there was one time where their son broke a vintage action figure of mine. And a month later, I go up to the shelf and I pull out the comic and I look at it and I can't believe it. There's a rip on the cover.
Okay. What about that, Mr. Miller? Did your son rip your brother's comic book?
Absolutely not, Your Honor.
How you know?
Well, the first time my son went into his room and he was playing with his toy, well, eventually, yeah, he broke the toy, but since then I told my son not to go into the room.
So do you have a plausible explanation what happened to his book?
Well, there is some girls he brings over every now and then. And there's this specific girl, I don't know her name, he never introduced us, but every time she gets there, they start arguing.
What about that, Mr. Joey Miller? What about that?
First of all, I mean, I collect comic books and toys. I'm not the kind of guy who has women over all the time, obviously, but, I do have
Because you collect comic books and toys?
Well, it's not really, it's not a turn on. A couple of them I've had over, they're friends. We're good friends, And, yeah, there's maybe one or two disagreements we've had,
But when people come over to your house, friends, whatever the relationship, I'm sure you're proud of your comic collection. You don't show them off?
Well, I do sometimes, yeah.
And do you go through them and check them every day to make sure they're in tip-top shape?
Not every day, but, I mean...
Why are you so certain the son did it?
Because who else would do it?
How do you know that he didn't go in there and tear up the comic book?
Well, I rather believe my son because my brother here, he's...
When you say you'd rather believe him, you're telling me you asked him?
Yes.
Okay, and he denied that he did it?
Yes. The thing is, Your Honor, my brother moved in with us 5 months ago because he didn't have a job.
If your brother's living in your house and you have a 8-year-old,
Sorry,
why you just can't put a lock on his door?
I don't like locks, Your Honor.
And that's the thing.
I prefer to know that I can prevent any problems that might occur within the rooms.
From the very beginning, when I first moved in, I asked him, I said, can I just please get a lock for my door just to make things easier, so, just for my privacy. He said no. Again, he said this no locking doors policy, which is
I have the same policy in my house.
But, it's just about my privacy, and the whole thing could have been avoided had I had a lock on the door.
What's the bigger issue here? Because I just can't, I really don't believe two brothers
He just doesn't
are
respect.
standing before
Yeah.
me over a ripped comic book that an 8-year-old nephew, even if he did it, that you're suing your brother because your nephew ripped your book. That's what children do.
Yeah, but it's careless on his part. He doesn't respect.
Why?
He doesn't respect my passion in
Your
life.
Honor, my brother has always been jealous of me.
No, you've been jealous of me.
No, I have a wife, I have a job, I have a son, and he has trouble to get his stuff together.
You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean. We're back with the case of Joey Miller, who is suing Alex Miller for $412.
So this is the rip you're talking about?
Yes, it is.
And all at the back?
Mm-hmm.
So why is this worth $412?
Well, like I said, the author signed it, so it's very valuable.
You have something to tell me that this is worth $412 other than you?
No, I don't have any other. It just.
So
it
how
costs,
do you know the
that's how much-
value? Did you get it evaluated?
Well, I mean, I did. I took it to a comic book store, and the guy there told me that it was worth that much.
So why you just couldn't let him write it out?
I don't.
Yes, this man for $412 based on your word.
Yes. I think the whole thing's a power trip, quite honestly.
Then move out. You won't have to be under nobody's power.
Well, I have to look for a place, and right now I'm just trying to, I'm focused on my passion, which is collectibles.
Okay, these collectibles
Yes.
that you don't have a place to stay, that you got to stay with your brother where your privacy is being invaded, that you blaming your little 8-year-old nephew for tearing up stuff, and all this stuff that means so much to you, but you don't have a roof over your head. Why don't you take some of these collectibles and sell them and get you a place to stay?
Well, I have been selling some of them. I'm actually trying to start my own business, not a comic book business, but like a toy business, because I like action figures too. So I'm trying to start my own business, and he doesn't respect that. He doesn't understand my passion. He doesn't respect
Your Honor,
me.
I never see my
He's never
brother go out
respected
to
me.
look for a job.
I could find a job. But the thing is, there's precedent for this. My action figure was broken in the past, and I didn't do anything about
And
that.
I told my son not to go in your room because of that. And he
didn't
never
listen
went
to
into
you.
your room
And
again.
you're trusting your son's word over mine, an 8-year-old.
No, why
over
would
me.
you put your stuff up somewhere that he couldn't get it? If you don't trust the child.
Well,
why is it out if it's so valuable, why is it out on the shelf? So the responsibility is yours to put it up, to do as much as you can to ensure that no one can get to it.
Judge Mablean's verdict when Justice with Judge Mablean returns. You're watching Justice with Judge Mablean.
I tell you what, since it's so valuable and you can go out and get your job and you can go out and find another place, why don't you do that? But I'm not going to charge him with $412 for this comic book. You don't have proof of the value, and you don't have proof that his son did it. And you're living in his house free and he's not charging you rent. That's not fair. You get to go back to his house for free and he had to pay you $412.
I mean, I respectfully disagree. I just think it's
Go
unfair.
ahead on and respectfully disagree, because I respectfully disagree with you. But guess what? I have the last say. Judgment for the defendant.
Judge Mablean has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case has been dismissed.
Next time I'll make sure to lock my prize comics in a safe.
Oh, you know what? You need to grow up and get out of my house.
This has been a